Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gen X Dad and his Gen Z Teens podcast. This program takes a lighthearted look at generational differences about all sorts of topics. We explore everything from pop culture to history to relationships to politics, but only at a very shallow level. We don't aim to be controversial or be the authoritative voice on any topic. We are not social scientists or scientists of any sort for that matter. We are just here to talk about things that we think are important and that we will have fun talking about. Also, it is my opportunity to publicly and on the record prove that I am right and my teens are wrong in all cases, and that the 80s and the 90s were absolutely the best time to grow up. Our topic for today is travel. All right, so we're going to talk today about traveling and places that we've been and the experience that we've had at some of these places. As I've mentioned in previous episodes, I grew up in a very small town in rural Louisiana. However, I was a reader growing up, and I loved movies, and I wanted to go out and see the world. I knew there was a bigger place than my hometown, even though it was a great place to grow up, and I wanted to go out and see it. My family did take a couple of cool vacations growing up, but they weren't common. We didn't have any we're definitely taking 2 vacations a year or anything like that. We were a big family, and so it was a bit of a stretch to some degree to get us all together. We were also involved a lot in sports, and our schedule and our free time revolved around that. We did do a pretty awesome big family trip to Disney World in Washington, D.C. one year on our way to a family reunion in Pennsylvania. A lot of memories from that trip. That was great. However, that was one of a few. My first time on an airplane was when I was 13. We flew up to St. Louis for a baseball tournament. That was the very first time I was ever on an airplane. So as you guys are kind of looking around, it's very different from you guys. The one place that was just captured my imagination growing up that I really wanted to go visit was California. And I don't even know, not for any particular single thing, but just the idea of California just kind of captured my imagination. And when my older sister got to go, man, I was so jealous. I eventually did get to go, but it was several years later. Travel did finally open up to me when I was a junior and a senior in high school. I was fortunate enough to become a national officer in a student organization called Future Business Leaders of America. And as a national officer, I get to travel around a bit, predominantly in the Southeast. But I got to go out and see some different things, and it definitely broadened me, my horizons, and then gave me some confidence and some perspective, and just encouraged or built up that feeling that I just wanted to go out and see more of the world. I was then fortunate enough to go to the Air Force Academy in Colorado. I got to travel a lot with that, and then obviously during my military career, I was able to travel a lot. I was fortunate enough to live overseas twice, once in South Korea, once in England. Those were incredible experiences, awesome. I still have just incredible memories of living there and want to go back and visit. And in addition, there's still other places that I do want to go back. I mean, one of them I'd like to go to the Galapagos Islands. I think that would be really cool. But the other thing that all that travel did was shape the ways that I wanted to parent you guys. And just thinking that I wanted to make travel a big part of growing up, more so than it was for me, because I just think it's such a positive. And wanted to get you guys to realize that there's a big world out there as soon as I could. Now, we do have the benefit, to your listeners, that we do have the benefit of your mom who works for a major airline. That certainly helps. However, just for the record, if we're trying to go somewhere and we definitely need to be somewhere, like we took a cruise, we pretty much buy tickets. It's too much of a roll of the dice and a risk to try and just fly standby all the time. But it has worked out for us several times, and that's just one of the perks of having somebody in the travel industry. Now, with that, let me ask you guys, do you appreciate the travel that you've done? Do you think you've done more in comparison to your friends? What do you think just about the stuff that you have done?
Yeah, I think we have actually traveled quite a lot for our age. And I personally, I've really enjoyed it. I kind of have developed a love for traveling. I like kind of going out and seeing all these new places and all these kind of new experiences that you can't quite, get in your hometown. Yeah, no, I think it's a really fun thing. I plan on traveling a bunch, kind of later in life as an adult. There's still a lot of parts of the world that I want to see and a lot of things kind of I want to experience.
Okay, what about you?
Yeah. I think we do travel a lot more compared to people that I talk to, and I like seeing all the different places, and even go back to some places that we've been to before. It's still like really fun and doing different things there.
Okay, what is right now? I mean, the favorite place that you remember that jumps out at you. What's your favorite trip we've been on?
Oh, that's tough. I think some of the Turks and times we went to Turks and Caicos, those were fun trips. Especially, as I've kind of developed a love for diving. That was really fun. Puerto Vallarta was a really fun one. Again, got to dive. And then we went to Newport. It was kind of nice there, being able to hang out with my friends and kind of just experience like that kind of vibe out there. It was really fun.
Okay, what about you?
Like what you said, I like the Turks and Caicos trips. I also like the Newport trip. That one was really fun. Um, Also, I like the diving at Puerto Vallarta too, and the diving at Turks and Caicos.
Well, very cool. So now, one time when we were actually coming back from a trip from Turks and Caicos, we got stuck not too far from my hometown. Now, we don't necessarily live real close to Louisiana anymore, but we went and saw it. Now, do you guys see how maybe I would have been as a young person going, man, I want to go out and see the world? Do you see some of that?
Yeah, no, I can definitely, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's pretty small, but it's got a vibe to it that's kind of fun. I mean, I said then, and I still kind of keep with it now. I don't think I'd ever want to live somewhere like that, but it's fun, being from a big city to kind of sometimes visit these smaller towns and just kind of, it's a different vibe to it.
What did you think?
It was very different and very cold, but it was still fun though.
Okay. Well, what about like now? We've been to some amusement parks. We've hit the Disney type stuff. We've been on a cruise. What do you guys think? I mean, like as far as going forward, what kind of vacations or travel do you like? I mean, we've even been fortunate enough we've been to England to go visit some of my friends from when we lived there. What do you look forward to? What would you like to see or do as you move forward with the family or even as your own travel?
I think there's some kind of like I want to go. Costa Rica has some really cool diving spots. Spain I want to visit just because kind of just the country itself, and the same kind of with Italy. I don't know, something in France, kind of those three, just somewhere out, kind of those places, just kind of seems fun and interesting. Um, and then yeah, maybe some more of like the kind of islands and stuff scattered around for more diving, and just kind of really wherever. Australia, again for the diving, and also just kind of for the country itself. I think there's just a lot of kind of cool places out there.
Okay, what about you?
Um, I would be interested in going to France, uh, Italy, Australia. I don't know about Greece. Um, Also, I've kind of actually never mind.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of whispered Greece because I want to take them to Greece because that was always one of the most fun trips that me and your mom did when we were dating, and we actually even went back right after we were married. It was incredible. Greece is beautiful. Okay, real quick then, do you think you're better because of what you've learned and experienced? Like you've been, each of you have flown a lot. Do you feel more confident? Do you feel more that you understand the world a little bit better because of your travels?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a certain kind of perspective that you can only get from traveling and kind of experiencing other people and like other places and stuff like that. And I think it kind of really broadens like your worldview in a way. And it's always kind of a fun experience. And I think it's a good thing. to kind of get out there and just experience these new things.
Okay, what about you?
Yeah, I think it does give you a new perspective because you get to go out and see different places that takes you away from the perspective that you gained over time from your hometown. And yeah.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to cut this one short. I mean, I think it's hard to argue against more travel, getting out there and meeting new people and having new experiences. The one thing I do think this is a case where the benefit of living now, there's a lot more availability, the airlines, the travel, everything about it is easier. The internet has made everything easier. And so I got to actually probably give you guys this one, that travel in this day and age is more convenient, easier, and than it was in the 80s or 90s for me growing up. I was mostly stuck with a dream at most times, whereas you guys have had the benefit of some convenience. And then obviously a big airport where we live in our city helps out and gives you guys a lot more opportunities. So I'll grant you this one, that living in this time with good cheap airlines and the availability of the internet, that can really create some incredible experiences. So that's it. Good one, guys. I got to give you this one. Otherwise, to all the listeners out there, thank you for listening today. I appreciate the time that you've spent indulging us. Thank you. Again, this was the Gen X Dad and his Gen Z teens. Please continue to follow if you think this is worth some of your time each week, and we will continue to put out episodes. Thanks. Take care.